Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Colonel Johnson here with Chief Earls, coming to you from Vance Air Force Base in beautiful Enid, America. And we're here this morning to introduce our 2020 Vance Air Force Base State of the Base. We'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everybody that supports Vance Air Force Base, whether at the local, state, or federal level. We couldn't do it without your support, and we appreciate you continuing to put your time and effort into our airmen and our mission.
Safety remains our first priority, and so we're doing things a little bit different this year and providing a video update. We look forward to meeting you in person for our next update, and in the interim, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Colonel Johnson or myself or our awesome public affairs team.
Vance proud.
In order to speak on where we are going, we must visit where we've been. 8 decades ago, the city of Enid petitioned the War Department for a base. The deal was struck in April, and by December, the first pilot trainees had arrived. That was just the beginning. As a team, Vance and the city of Enid have been innovators from the start, when Vance became one of the first bases to use contractors to support the wing's flying operations. The success of that initial contract set the standard for how all base operating support contracts are now written. Since our first students stepped on the installation in 1941, we've trained almost 35,000 pilots, and we're just getting started.
We can't really talk about where we are if we don't define who we are. And at Vance, our mission is to deliver the world's best pilots, develop professional airmen, and deploy ready airmen and support families, and demonstrate a culture of dignity and respect. To deliver the world's best pilots, Vance catapulted fully into the future by partnering with Joint Base San Antonio Randolph to execute Undergraduate Pilot Training 2.5. UPT 2.5 reimagines the training syllabus that has been utilized for over 50 years. We've crafted a student-centric learning experience and centered around leveraging current technological advances.
Vance created video academic content for all students, giving them early access before they even officially start a class. Virtual reality simulators available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, showcase local flying routes and help students familiarize themselves with how flying feels before they ever hit the actual cockpit. Flexible scheduling and more one-on-one time with instructor pilots and civilian simulator instructors enhances the production of better pilots and provides a solution to the pilot shortage crisis.
But it isn't just UPT 2.5 that drives pilot production. Our T-1 aircraft, used to train airlift pilots, received a major avionics upgrade, which is helping to modernize training with electronic displays. Vance is also leading the way by being the first UPT base to adopt and execute the Accelerated Path to Wings program. With this program, we're able to transform a brand new lieutenant into a professional military aviator in just 6 months. With all of the syllabus changes, new programs, and over 350,000 sorties flown, Vance Air Force Base has produced more pilots than any other UPT base over the past 2 years.
Developing professional airmen is key to the success of our team. We are committed to the development of our airmen on and off the flight lane, enlisted and officers, civilians and contractors. The personal and professional development of our teammates is essential. Our Security Forces Defenders debuted the Air Force's new tactical helmet and will be the first in line for female body armor. In addition, they created a state-of-the-art digital shoot house where our defenders can practice high-stress situations in a virtual arena.
We have created an extraordinary partnership with Autry Technology Center. With their assistance, aircraft maintenance training will become available again in Enid as a result of Autry's Vertex Apprenticeship program. Our medical team has partnered with Autry Tech in facilitating leadership courses and have created a Gateway Academy where Lean Six Sigma training is conducted locally rather than sending our personnel to San Antonio. Autry is utilized as a testing center for National Emergency Medical Responder and Emergency Medical Technician testing, saving the Air Force money and man-hours. Their facilities are also used for our enlisted professional military education courses. The assistance received from this great institution is limitless. We cannot thank their staff enough for their continuous support.
Woodring Regional Airport has also been a huge contributor to our success. With over 17,000 sorties flown in 2020 and 416,000 gallons of gas pumped, Woodring has provided our students with irreplaceable training while reducing the workload of our maintainers and controllers. The great programs in our base have even greater airmen managing them. We would now like to highlight a few of Vance's outstanding airmen. Technical Sergeant Joseph Padilla of the 71st Force Support Squadron was promoted to the rank of Technical Sergeant out of cycle, recognizing his exceptional potential for the next rank, a first at Vance in the last decade.
Staff Sergeant Craig Smith, 71st Security Forces Squadron, was selected for the Elite Tactical Air Control Field Officer course. Of the 9 personnel chosen to attend this school, he was the only enlisted airman. Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Kuong Nguyen, 71st Medical Group, is being highlighted for his works outside of the office. He teaches martial arts to at-risk youth in the local community. Dr. Nguyen is a 2-time black belt in addition to fulfilling duties as the chief of the medical staff at the Vance Clinic and was recently selected for colonel.
Master Sergeant Matthew Dwyer of the 71st Medical Group rose to the occasion when COVID pandemic affected us all. He created a database for tracking COVID cases that provides local trend data versus relying on state or national statistics. This database is currently under review by Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for potential use Department of Defense-wide. Like almost every other base in the DoD, our personnel deploy to overseas locations in support of national defense objectives. How we deploy ready airmen and support families matters, not only to our airmen downrange, but to the families left at home. Vance deployed 68 personnel to 14 countries, 23 locations, and 5 areas of operation in 2020.
To support families and keep everyone connected, Vance partnered and supported the Base Connect application. This app gives airmen at their fingertips access to base services and allows leaders to interact almost immediately with airmen and their families. With all the obstacles the nation faced in 2020, the Airmen of Vance remained vigilant and true to our core values. We supported the mission and our team by demonstrating a culture of dignity and respect.
Equality is an important focus for our Air Force. Subsequent to the findings of the Department of the Air Force Inspector General's Racial Disparity Report Assessment, Vance personnel initiated a Diversity and Inclusion Task Force to address historically overlooked diversity and inclusion issues. Local results were recently generated, and a plan for both programmatic and institutional change is in the works.
Part of Vance's culture is also about recognizing those who make contributions above and beyond. Retired Colonel Chuck DeBellevue, one of the last living aces, was inducted as one of Vance's partners in the sky. Colonel DeBellevue, Lieutenant Colonel Schwartfinger, and Lieutenant Colonel Sloniker, all inductees of the Partners Cadre, continue their interaction with student pilots, giving the Air Force's newest aviators true American heroes to emulate.
Although Vance has a lot of amazing things to highlight, we were also met with a few challenges this year. The biggest and most obvious challenge was COVID-19. To ensure we could continue the mission while the world was shutting down, Vance COM Focal Point personnel worked around the clock to enable teleworking for a large portion of our base population. This reduced the number of personnel on the installation and, as a result, reduced infection rates while maintaining command and control.
COVID has forced us all to think outside of the box, which sparked innovative ways of getting the job done and protecting the health of our team. Our ASRCC contract partners employed an e-mist electrostatic disinfectant gun to ensure our work areas were safe. Finally, airmen within our local innovation Spark Cell created a flash box that prolonged the utilization of N95 masks and personal protective equipment using ultraviolet C lighting. They saved the Air Force over $80,000 by implementing this innovation rather than purchasing a UVC robot. Despite all of COVID's challenges, Vance still graduated 368 pilots.
Vance also weathered the storm, so to speak, by forging relationships with local contractors and securing a $7 million contract to bury all power lines on the installation, resulting in no power outages for any of the base, to include the operational side of the installation and base housing. We also coordinated with renewable energy interests to protect our most valuable infrastructure resource, our airspace. There are still significant challenges ahead, specifically in regards to the increasing height of wind turbines, but the passage of House Bill 2118 by the Oklahoma State Legislature gives us a unique advantage when negotiating with renewable energy interests.
Centered to that is the leadership of the Oklahoma Strategic Military Planning Commission. Legacy leader Mr. Mike Cooper and now retired Colonel Darrell Judy will continue to work for not only Vance, but Altus, Fort Sill, McAllister, and Tinker Air Force Base. It may come as a surprise that a base built 80 years ago still has some of the original infrastructure, and in Vance's case, it's the pipes on the operational side of the installation. While there is a long-term replacement in the works, from the here and now, our civil engineers worked hard to obtain and install a chlorine pump to increase our drinking water safety levels until our pipes can be replaced.
We have also made improvements to the main gate of our installation. Vance has upgraded its installation entry security features to include new denial barriers. With this addition, we now have one of the best and most secure gates within the Air Force. Our aging enlisted dormitories have been a source of discussion for several years, and this year is no different. We're aware of movement directed by Senator Inhofe's office and facilitated by the Oklahoma Strategic Military Planning Commission, and have high hopes a solution is in our future.
Our accomplishments this year were numerous and include being the #1 pilot production base in the Air Force. Vance was awarded the Air Force Association Squadron of the Year, the Air Education and Training Command's Spencer Innovation Award, and the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award.
We've discussed the past and present state of Vance. Let's now look into the future and discuss where we're going. A team of senior non-commissioned officers have conceptualized and implemented Vance's Total Force Development Council. The mission of the council is to leverage education, training, and experience to produce adaptable, creative, and knowledgeable airmen. Our request for a new operations complex has gained traction as we continue to work our way through the planning process, with hopes to receive approval in the next few years.
The center runway construction funding approval is currently pending. This project is essential to our continued pilot production and, as you can see from the photos, is in dire need of replacement. As we have with other replacement or resurfacing, we'll be utilizing Wood Ring as a 4th runway when this project is funded, aided by the Joint SEAL project financed by the city and state. In the longer term, we're looking at replacing all of the water pipes and the water tower to ensure the quality and resiliency of our water.
And of course, with every infrastructure decision we make, we ensure we're thinking about the T-7A. Vance is ready and willing to welcome the Red Tail as our newest airframe as soon as we're notified of our reception date. For the here and now, UPT 2.5 is here to stay. Our last legacy syllabus class moved into their Phase 3 trainers. Now, every pilot that comes through Vance's gates will be helping to create the Air Force's newest training platform, in addition to leveraging technology in new and exciting ways.